For years, Bashar al-Assad seemed untouchable. He ruled Syria with an iron fist, brutally suppressing any opposition. The world watched in horror as the Syrian civil war raged on, a bloody testament to Assad's ruthlessness. But even dictatorships built on fear and violence can crumble. In a stunning turn of events, Assad's regime finally fell, ending decades of brutal rule. The speed of the collapse surprised everyone. Just weeks before, Assad seemed firmly in control. He had weathered years of rebellion, sanctions, and international condemnation. But the ground was shifting beneath his feet, and the once unthinkable suddenly became reality. The Syrian people, who had endured so much under Assad's tyranny, poured into the streets. They celebrated the downfall of a dictator, their chants of freedom echoing through the ruined cities. The world watched in awe as a nation dared to hope again. The fall of Assad's regime marked a turning point in Syrian history. It was a victory for the countless victims of his regime, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. But it also marked the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with both promise and uncertainty. The future of Syria remained unclear, but one thing was certain: the country would never be the same. Assad's power rested on a precarious foundation, propped up by a dwindling circle of allies. Iran and Hezbollah, his longtime backers, had poured resources and manpower into keeping him afloat, but their own strength was waning. Israel, locked in a shadow war with Iran across the region, had dealt significant blows to Hezbollah's capabilities. The reported death of Hassan Nasrallah, Hezbollah's charismatic leader, further weakened the group's morale and operational capacity. Iran, facing its own internal pressures and economic woes, found itself stretched thin. The war in Ukraine had further diverted its attention and resources, leaving Assad increasingly vulnerable. Russia, once a staunch ally, had grown weary of Assad's intransigence. Putin's attempts to broker a peace deal between Assad and Turkey had fallen flat, leaving Moscow frustrated and unwilling to expend further capital on a lost cause. With his allies distracted and weakened, Assad's grip on power began to slip. The cracks in his regime, long papered over by brute force and external support, began to widen. As Assad's regime teetered on the brink, a resurgent rebel alliance sensed an opportunity. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, a jihadist group that had long been a thorn in Assad's side, spearheaded the final offensive. Learning from past mistakes and internal divisions, the rebels adopted a new strategy. They focused on winning over the Syrian people, portraying themselves not just as fighters, but as liberators. They reached out to diverse communities, including some that had previously supported Assad, promising a more inclusive and just future. This new approach paid dividends. The rebels found common cause with groups that had once been at odds, uniting against a common enemy. The Syrian people, exhausted by years of war and repression, rallied behind the banner of rebellion, providing crucial intelligence and logistical support. The rebel offensive, meticulously planned and flawlessly executed, caught Assad's forces off guard. Cities and towns fell in rapid succession as the regime's defenses crumbled. The Syrian army, riven by corruption and low morale, put up little resistance. Many soldiers simply melted away, abandoning their posts and disappearing into the countryside. The fall of Assad's regime marked the end of an era, but it also ushered in a period of profound uncertainty. With Assad gone, the question of who would fill the power vacuum loomed large.